Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Alice. We talk about books, sometimes do some lifestyle and vlog content. So if you're looking for someone to stick on in the background whilst you make yourself a meal, clean your room, or do that thing you've been putting off for the longest time, then I'm your gal. So consider hitting that subscribe button. Come on in, join the family. It is free and you can unsubscribe at any time. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for your continued support. Let's get on with today's video. Just a side note, guys. It's currently 8:15 in the morning and look at this lighting situation. The UK for you peeps. Anyway, let's get on with today's video. So today we are talking about the non-negotiable wrapped. We have finished all of our non-negotiable books. Technically, side note, The Hobbit didn't count. I am halfway through it and we'll definitely finish it in the next week. So I will include a brief mention on it, but everything else was officially included in the non-negotiable list this year, which means we don't have a book buying ban. Woo! Now, I am going to try and enact one anyway for the first couple months because obviously, you know, Christmas comes, hopefully we'll get some new books. So I don't really need to be buying books, but there might be the odd Kindle buy. We're going to try and be brave, maybe go and read some Penelope Douglas or something like that. So let's do it, okay? So we're going to do these in order of read. We're going to try, you know me guys, I do like to waffle on a little bit. So we're going to try and keep it clear, concise, tell you brief thoughts about each book, just in case you have missed any of the reviews. Every single book in this video has had its own review somewhere on my channel. So if you're interested in a specific book and you do want more information about it, although sometimes they can be spoilers, we'll usually put a disclaimer in the video, but there are more videos to go check out, so go do it, okay guys? Also, another little note just about the Christmas upload schedule. It might be a little bit sparse during the Christmas week because it's quite a busy time for my family, but don't you worry, we will continue on sort of after the main festivity days have passed, and you know, few and far between, but they'll be there. All right, so now you know, go tell everyone. Next week will be normal obviously, and then we'll kind of see how it goes from there. The first non-negotiable read we read was Hooked, and we actually read this to get out of a reading slump. Now, this book wasn't my favourite, I'll be honest. I gave it a 4 out of 10, which is a 2-star. I think that's a little bit kind. It's probably 1.5 star. I gave it a 4 chilies. It was definitely spicy. It was definitely dark romance, let's say that. And it had this fairy tale element in it. I don't know. It just wasn't my favourite. It wasn't my favourite, guys. I wouldn't recommend it. But, you know, if you like this kind of stuff or you're into dark romance, then maybe this would be a good series for you. I do have 3 other books in this series. This is the problem when you buy some sets. And I don't have a desire to read them, but I feel like I need to give them another chance. For me, I wasn't that keen on the writing itself either. It just kind of wasn't entirely my style, my genre, my vibe. But I will go back and do some more exploring. Also, disclaimer, please always read the trigger warnings before reading any books, especially a dark romance book as well. So we want happy and safe readers out there. So, you know, I always tell you to, but just make sure if you are going to read any of these books. That's all we got to say about Hooked. I won't give you my review because there is already a review video on my channel. I believe this is our lowest ranked book out of all of them, so we can only go up from here, guys. Then we took a break and we read the Twisted series, and then I started my little Audible journey, didn't I? Yes, I did, guys. You know this. I'm absolutely obsessed, and I will say that listening to The Lord of the Rings, narrated by Andy Serkis, is probably one of the best things I've ever done. So then we read The Fellowship of the Ring. Oh my goodness, it was so good. Well, obviously technically we listened to it, but it was so amazing. Wow. I gave this a 9 out of 10. It was a 5-star read for me. Obviously had 0 spice, was not 0 spice, and definitely would recommend this whole series. It was great. It's so clever, and bringing all the different worlds into it. Like, you guys know I'm a world builder, and bringing all these different characters from different parts of the world together, and all these customs and songs and everything. I just loved it. I will say the songs did go on a little bit long sometimes, you know. Oh, Tom Bombadil. Not gonna start. Good times. Would definitely recommend. If you guys haven't read The Lord of the Rings, do it, okay? It is a lot and you have to get into it, but do it. If you're not so much keen on the reading of them, then go do the Audible. Wait for a free trial, or, you know, if you want to go pay for the subscription, that's also fine. Not sponsored in any way, shape or form. Wish I was, honestly. I've had to pause my membership just because, you know, want to conserve some funds, and so sad. But I am going to resume it soon, hopefully. But yeah, please sponsor me, Audible, because I love you. I do. Anyway, that aside, who was she for a second? Anyway, do it. Then we went into our October reads. Now, these were technically not non-negotiables. These were more my October TBR, but I counted them in there because I wanted to read them and the accountability made me read them. So we first read Wrong Place, Wrong Time. This took me a little longer to read than I would have liked, but we still managed to get through it all in the end. I gave this a 6 out of 10, a 3-star. I think that could have been a little bit nice. It was good. It wasn't the best thing I've ever read, but 6 out of 10 is pretty fair. Obviously, no spice at all. But I did like this book because it was different to anything I've read. The style was really cool. The Groundhog Day, but it's not Groundhog Day because we're going backwards in time. That was really cool. I've never read that before. So I did enjoy it. It wasn't the most like shocking twist or anything like that, but it still had some good twists and turns in there, and I would recommend it. If you're looking for a thriller that's fairly good paced, but you are looking for something a bit different as well, then I would say this is a good one to try. That's really all I've got to say about Wrong Place, Wrong Time. It was good for the time. I wouldn't reread it again. I'll probably donate this to somebody. Let me know, do you guys want it? I'll donate this to someone, but yeah, I'm glad I've read it. Then next up, we had my craziest read of the year, You. Honestly, one of my best friends made me read this, and I'm so glad. I do need to watch the series. He keeps telling me to watch it because we're doing a little podcast moment and we want to compare the series and the book, but I'm really scared, guys. I'm really scared, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I could do it. I could do it right. Should we make that video? Question of the day. Anyway, I gave this an 8 out of 10. It was a 4-star. It wasn't spicy in the way me and you would view spice. It wasn't like a dark romance all scenes, but there was a lot of like sexualized, but there was like spice in it, but there's a lot of like sexualized thoughts, and there were things that happened, but it wasn't like I don't know how to explain it. It's not that kind of, I don't want to say enjoyable, but you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're like rooting for the characters to get together and like, yeah, and they're like, woo, they've had this like great time. It's not that. It's not that. It's the complete opposite to that. So yeah, it is a very interesting book. I've never read a book like this. I really don't know if I'd recommend it or not. I feel like I would, just because it's something so different. It's so captivating. It's so like you're sucked in. But there's a lot of messed up shit going on in here, okay? So it's a lot. It's definitely, we need to read the trigger warnings before. Read it. If you've been thinking about it, then do it. Then we did our final October read, which was Halloween Party. I also gave this a 6 out of 10, but again, I did say at the time that was a little high because it was my first Agatha Christie. Definitely wasn't her best or one of her known best, and a lot of people actually say this isn't her good writing. This was more like to meet a deadline, but I still enjoyed it. Her writing is still great, and I did give it a 6 for that reason, but it's definitely probably more in the 5 territory, so sort of like 2.5 to 3 stars. Again, might be a little bit generous. I wouldn't say rush for it. I mean, the cover is beautiful. If you want it on your shelf, then yeah, but I think there's better Agatha Christie's out there, and we will read them. Don't you worry, we will read them and have some redemption, but this wasn't my favorite. Anyway, it sat on my shelf for a while, so I'm glad it got read, and I won't be donating this because I really do like the cover. So meanwhile, we had been listening to The Two Towers. Okay, I enjoyed this more than The Fellowship. You know how I always say the first book is always the worst, and I mean, we started off at a 9 out of 10, so pretty crazy. It's not bad, it's just you got more world building and you've got more attachment to the characters by that time. So The Two Towers actually got a 9.5 out of 10, which is also a 5-star read, and obviously did not have any spice in it. Same thing on repeat. Read them, listen to them, they're great. I really got into this one as well. I really did. Two Towers, great song. Then, guys, we read Fourth Wing. I know we finally did it, and I'm so excited and itching to read Iron Flame. I did, in response to the recent video, I did choose to continue on with The Maze Runner, but I will be reading that ASAP, don't you worry. So by January, we would have got it done. Loved it. Great times. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, so it was a 4-star. It just missed out on the 5-star for me. There were just a few little bits missing, but I see the potential of the series, and I feel like the rest of the series could grow into a 5-star, could end up being a 5-star series. Glad I left it as long to read it as I did, because I went into it with a completely clear blank slate. So what's not to love? You got dragons, you got enemies to lovers, you got this whole new world building things going on. I mean, you know, what about that doesn't scream me? That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, really good time. Obviously spice was there. I gave it 2.5 chilies. I feel like that's pretty accurate. There was spice in there, but it wasn't too much yet, so we'll see if it amps up in the next book. And obviously, yes, I would recommend I Love a Romantasy. Okay, get me that fantasy element in there, and it's great because it's just something new. It's a bit of escapism, something a bit different. It was quite gory, so again, trigger warnings, please read them beforehand, but I really enjoyed this one. So then we rounded up the trilogy. Now, spoiler, this is my 10 out of 10 read. I love this book. I was so into it. There was so much going on. I loved all the after bits you got. At the end, we got what happened with all the hobbits and what happened with people, which was great. I loved the extra bits where they had the appendices. That was fantastic. So 5-star read, 10 out of 10 for me. This was my perfect book of the year. There's still maybe some to come, okay? There may be some to come, but this is the front runner for me this year. Obviously has no spice, and yes, would recommend. I feel like I can't say any more about the Lord of the Rings. I've said it so many times. It's fantastic, and yeah. So we're just gonna segue for a second into The Hobbit. We're reading The Hobbit. It is a lot smaller than the Lord of the Rings, so I think it's only 10 hours listening on Audible, whereas the others were sort of in the 20s. It's really good so far. I think it is going to be another 5-star read. I really like the way it's written. It's quite jokey, and the narration is quite fun, and there's a lot of comparison where it'll be like people like you and me and things like that, and I really like that. That's quite clever, and we're getting this whole extra bit in it. So yeah, the chapters are quite short, so sometimes I'm like, we're just getting into something and then something new happens, but I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it. And look at the artwork for this dust cover. I just think like, wow, great times. But yeah, I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. I will give you feedback when I've finished it, but this technically was not on my non-negotiable list. I did mention it, but it will be done nonetheless. All right, legendary. Then bringing in the final book of the non-negotiable reads, we have The Maze Runner. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I feel like the series is gonna get better. I do. This was already great, 8 out of 10, 4 stars, obviously 0 spice, and would definitely recommend it. It had such a nostalgic vibe. It was super fun, and obviously there's a lot going on there. Please do read trigger warnings as well, because there's many a thing going on. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I'm excited to see where the series goes. I know I have watched the films, but I know the books are going to be so much better. So exciting times. I really enjoyed it. But as we always say, the first book's usually the worst. So I have high hopes for the Scorch trials, and then going on and on and on and on. That rounds us up for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will stop waffling on. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Have you subscribed? Thank you very much, and as always, until the next one, I'll see you then. Bye. Time to put them back on the shelf. Whoa.